Chào mừng tất cả các bạn quay trở lại với kênh Siêu Trí Nhớ Học Đường. Trong video hôm nay thì các bạn sẽ cùng với cô Thúy chúng ta học về vẫn là thì hiện đại đơn nhưng phần tiếp theo các bạn nha. Chúng ta cùng vào bài học nào.
Hi everybody, and welcome back. In this part 2 video of our lesson on present simple tense, we're going to be talking about question structures, both for yes-no questions and WH questions. We'll also talk about how to use present simple tense. So let's take a look. We're going to begin this part 2 section on questions. We'll begin with yes-no questions. Again, we have a difference between to be and other verbs. Let's begin with other verbs. With all verbs except be, we use do or does plus subject plus verb zero. Remember the unchanging form. So, to ask questions, yes-no questions with to like, I might ask, do I like ice cream? Do you like ice cream? Does he like ice cream? Does she like ice cream? Does it like ice cream? Do we like ice cream? Do they like ice cream? So here we're using do and does the same way we use all other verb ones. But that is just a helping verb. The like form doesn't change. These are called yes-no questions because the answer to these questions is yes or no. Do you like ice cream? Yes, I do. No, I don't. That's why we call these yes-no questions. Okay, let's take a look at how to make yes-no questions with to be. So with the verb to be now, we're not going to use a helping verb. So no, do, does. We just use am, is, are plus subject. So with hungry again, we would say, am I hungry? Are you hungry? Is he hungry? Is she hungry? Is it hungry? Are we hungry? Are they hungry? All right, so we start with the am, is, are, and then the subject. And that's how we make yes-no questions with the verb to be. Okay, let's take a look now at how to make WH questions. WH questions are questions which begin with an interrogative like who, what, when, where, why, how many, etc. Most interrogatives begin with WH, what, where, when. That is why we call them WH questions. Here we have to distinguish whether the WH word, like what or who, if it's the subject or not. For example, if the WH word is not the subject, then we use this structure with all verbs except for to be. WH word, like who, what, when, plus do or does is the helping verb, plus subject, plus verb zero. For example, using the verb to live, I might ask, where do I live? Where do you live? Where does he live? Where does she live? Where does it live? Where do we live? Where do they live? Notice the structure is the same here. WH word, do, does, subject, verb zero. However, in all of these questions, the WH word is not the subject. The subject is here. I, you, he, she, it, etc. These are the subjects, not the WH word. However, the WH word can be the subject. That's a different structure. We'll take a look at that in a moment. First, let's take a look at WH word not being the subject for verbs to be. So WH word here plus am, is, are plus subject. So no do, does in these questions. So with to be, I might ask, where am I? Where are you? Where is he? Where is she? Where is it? Where are we? Where are they? Right. So notice the subject here is I, you, he, etc. Not the WH word. As I said, the WH word can be the subject. Let's take a look at how to make questions like that. If the WH word is the subject, then we don't use do or does. We just use the WH word plus verb 1. Remember, verb 1 is the form we use in statements like, likes, talk, talks. All right, we're going to use verb 1 in this case. Let's take a look at some examples. Using the verb to live. The first question, who lives here? Notice that who is the subject. And what represents who is going to be the subject of the answer. So who lives here? Michael lives here. Michael is the subject. So we're looking for the agent of the verb lives. Same thing with the second question. What kind of animal lives in a cave? All right, so here we have a kind of phrase, what kind of animal, which is the interrogative. This is like a WH word here. And then we have verb 1. Another phrase here. How many of them live here? So how many of them is a plural. Right? And it behaves like a WH word. So WH word plus verb 1. Since it's plural, we're going to say live. Singular, lives. Plural, live. Right? So verb 1, remember, has 2 forms. Okay, let's take a look at negative questions. Right? These are also possible. For example, you might ask someone, don't you like ice cream? Which is a contracted form of, do you not like ice cream? Aren't you hungry? Which is a contracted form of, are you not hungry? Where don't you want to go? Which is a contracted form of, where do you not want to go? Who doesn't like ice cream? Which is a contracted form of, who does not like ice cream? So, not all questions are positive. You might want to ask someone a negative question. And this is how we do it. Right? With the first one, we use helping verb do, because the verb is to like, not be. With be, no helping verb. Are. Are you not hungry? WH word with you as the subject. So this WH word is not the subject. Where do you not want to go? However, this WH word is the subject. Who does not like ice cream? Okay, so now let's turn to the uses of present simple tense. There are essentially 4 uses. We're going to use present simple tense to talk about general truths, habits, future scheduled events, as well as conditionals. Let's take a look at each one of them in turn. First of all, general truths are things which are always true. The sun rises in the east. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Michael lives in Chicago. My sister wears glasses. All right, so in the first two, you can see scientific truths, and in the second two, you can see other more common practical truths. All right, so when something is always true, we often use present simple tense to talk about it. Another use of present simple tense is habits. These are things that people do regularly. For example, Mary never eats on airplanes. In other words, it is not Mary's habit to eat on an airplane. She does not eat on an airplane. I usually take the bus to work. Again, this is my habit. I usually take the bus to work. Some of my friends smoke. All right, so all of these examples are using present simple tense to talk about what people do or don't do regularly. The third use is future scheduled events. Normally, we use other tenses for the future, but if the event is on part of a schedule, we would use normally present simple tense. For example, my flight leaves at 8:20 tomorrow morning. Flights at the airport are part of a schedule. So 8:20 is a scheduled time. So I would use present simple tense, not future. Same thing with the second one. The movie starts at 9 o'clock. Movie times at the cinema are scheduled. Same with lunch. Lunch isn't until 12:30, but I'm hungry. All right, so here I'm using contractions here, but I'm using is to talk about the lunchtime because lunchtime is part of the schedule. The second one is something that's true right now, so that's something different. Another use for present simple tense is for conditionals. We are going to learn conditionals at the end of this course, in the last section. To give you a preview, though, for zero conditional, if you say, if you heat water to 100 degrees, it boils. So in zero conditional, we use present simple tense in both clauses. For first conditional, we use present simple tense in the first clause. If you help me paint my house, I will buy you dinner. As I said, we're going to learn conditionals later, but just so you know, these use present simple tense.
Bài học của chúng ta hôm nay đến đây là hết rồi. Các bạn hãy đón xem những video tiếp theo nhé. Các bạn đăng ký kênh để nhận được video mới nhất nhé. Cảm ơn cả nhà.